Hello creatives, my name is Zachary Carranco, fashion designer and entrepreneur. Welcome to the House of TZC, where we're building better fashion businesses together. This video is going to be about getting to know the application process of applying to those best fashion schools in the world like Central St. Martin's, London College of Fashion, Parsons School of Design, and Fashion Institute of Technology, or FIT. And more importantly, how to make sure that you stand out and show your creativity when applying to your favorite school. But before we get too far into this video, just like last week, I want to do a little disclaimer. And that is, I am not sponsored, nor do I represent any of the colleges mentioned in this video, and that everything that I'm telling you is just based on my opinion from the research I did for you. So if you are planning on going to any of these colleges, schools, or universities, make sure that you talk to your guidance counselor first to make sure you are on the right path for you. Okay, let's get into it. Let's do a quick little rundown of the application process when applying to one of these major fashion schools. The first thing you're going to need to do is make sure that you have all of the basic education requirements met in order to apply to that school. That means if you're a high school student, making sure that you have that general education diploma and that your test scores are okay to get into that school. If you're a transfer student, you need to make sure that all of the credits you already have are going to transfer to the new school. And if you're going to be applying to graduate programs, making sure that your undergraduate degree program lends itself to that graduate program that you will be applying to. The second thing we're going to need to do is know the school which we're applying to. All that means is making sure we know more than just the cost of attendance, the programs that they offer, and their acceptance rate. We need to know their history, their legacy, and their influence in the industry, as well as their values, mission statement, and educational approach. That way we can cater all of the information we put in our application to the specific school and program that we're applying to. The third is going to be a fashion resume, which may look a little different than a resume that you may use to apply to a job. The fourth is going to be a portfolio, where we're going to introduce people to our world, show our creativity, express our why we're interested in fashion. Finally, the actual application part of it, which usually includes a college essay, some sort of design project, and for some programs, an interview. Now we know the general process, let's deep dive into it. Actually, I'm not going to talk too much about the basic general education requirements. We're going to be talking to a guidance counselor anyway, right? So the first one, fashion schools. In the video I did last week, I discussed if fashion school is even still necessary, which you can watch here. And towards the end of that video, I gave you a chart that showed the top 10 global fashion schools in the world for the last 5 years, which I'm going to put up on the screen here again. The reason why I made this chart for you was because which school you go to matters when applying and trying to get a job in the fashion industry. If you want to compete on a global level, they expect you to be educated by one of the best schools in the world. For every year, 2017 to 2021, I scoured the internet, took every scholarly source, all the way down to every blog that rated fashion schools globally. I took their top 10 list and I averaged them out. That gave me the average placement for each fashion school for that specific year. And then for those 5 years, I then averaged those out again to get an overall list, which is what you're looking at. The top spots, number 1 is going to be Central St. Martin's, London College of Fashion, place number 2, Parsons School of Design, the new school, place number 3, and Fashion Institute of Technology, or FIT, ranked number 4. We're only going to really discuss these top 4 schools in this video, but going to any of these schools on this list would be a wonderful opportunity, and you would be getting one of the best educations for fashion in the entire world. If you are interested in going to any of the others, make sure that you do your due diligence and your research in order to know what that school offers. And I'm going to kind of give you a basic list on these 4 schools that you can then apply to the other schools that you may be wanting to go to. But what's this? International rumor mail? Well, let's open it. It says here that the UK schools tend to separate their technical and design related courses as they are in the industry, being 2 separate jobs, and that US schools tend to combine the 2. It also says that because we only wanted to animate this once, the international mail was delivered with the national mail, and that Parsons School of Design tends to be more design-centered in their educational approach, and FIT tends to be more technically design-centered. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, everything I just said was just rumors and from my opinion and my own personal research. When I was applying to school, I came across a couple articles that talked about the different educational approaches between the schools in London and between the schools in New York. and that the schools in London tended to separate the two concepts of design and technical design because that is how they are in the industry. Where the US schools tend to focus on bringing the two together. If you're a designer, you need to know the technical design aspect. Both are completely valid. Also, through my research this time, I did not find that to be true. All of the programs that I looked at focus on both as the core education. Also, through my time at Parsons, I did meet a lot of people who went to FIT, or I had teachers that taught at FIT, and the difference between the two schools was that FIT education tended to revolve around technical design, where Parsons education tends to focus more on the design and then the making of the design. Again, this is all going to be up to your research, what you find. Everything I just mentioned was technically a rumor, and I didn't find that to be true in this go around. So let's jump into these schools. So first one we're going to talk about, and we're going to hop over the pond here, the fashion school that ranked #1 over the last 5 years was Central St. Martin's. Central St. Martin's is one of 6 schools part of the University of Arts London. It's based in the Granary Square in the larger King's Cross development in London's borough of Camden. Central St. Martin's has an acceptance rate that is fluctuating but has been as low as 6%. Their tuition for University of Arts London, so for the university, not for Central St. Martin's, is about £9,250 for local residents and £22,920 for international students per year. Within Central St. Martin's, there's different educational paths that you can take. Access and progression to higher education, art, culture and enterprise, fashion, graphic and communication design, jewelry, textiles and materials, performance, product, ceramic and industrial design, and spatial practices. More specifically, in their fashion program, they offer both bachelor degrees and master's degrees in fashion and fashion communication. The mission at Central St. Martin's is to create a learning environment where creative practice combines the ability to imagine new futures with the means to deliver them. Artists and designers who go to this school are equipped to address the urgent global challenges that we all face, including the climate crisis, biodiversity emergencies, as well as forging more equitable societies. Central St. Martin's values art, design, and performance and believe that it can generate real productive change. Central St. Martin's has had over a century of pioneering provocative art and design. The school began as 2 separate colleges. St. Martin's School of Art, which was established in 1854 by St. Martin in the Fields Church. They later became independent from the church in 1859. The second school was the Central School of Art and Crafts, later to be known as Central School of Art and Design, which was founded in 1896. This school was founded from the arts and crafts movement by William Morris and John Ruskin. Both of these individuals believed in the fundamental importance of learning through making, and were known for their radical approach to art and design, values which still remain the core of the teaching at Central St. Martin's today. In 1986, the London Institute formed to house 7 different colleges in London. Under the Education Reform Act of 1988, it became a legal entity and was able to award degrees by 1993. The Drama Centre of London, which was founded in 1963, joined Central St. Martin's in 1999. The Byam Shah School of Art, which was founded in 1910, also joined Central St. Martin's in 2003. Today, Central St. Martin's remains dedicated to revolutionizing systems, transforming objects, and making people's lives better. The alumni at this school include the fashion designer Stella McCartney, fashion designer Alexander McQueen, artist Laura Prevost, actress, model, artist Anita Pallenberg, inventor and industrial designer James Dyson, and fashion designer John Galliano. Now hopping over to our second school, London College of Fashion. London College of Fashion is another school under the University of Arts London. It's located just north of Oxford Circus in the Westminster Borough of London. The acceptance rate is fluctuating, but is usually around 23% for undergraduate students and 36% for postgraduate students. Tuition at the University of Arts London is £9,250 for local students and £22,920 for international students per year. London College of Fashion is the only college in Britain to specialize in fashion education, research, and consultancy. It offers over 60 undergraduate and postgraduate degrees and 165 short courses. This also includes study abroad courses and business training in fashion, makeup, beauty therapy, and lifestyle industries. This is a long list, so make sure you pause or reduce the playback speed so you can see these in slower motion, or just go to the website and view all of these education paths for yourself, which I will link the university down in the description below. The mission at London College of Fashion is to develop inventive, assertive ideas that challenge social and political agendas. They give the students the skills, opportunities, and above all, freedom to put those abilities into practice. They truly believe to their core that fashion can change lives, and they value teaching, specialist research, and collaborative work as ways to empower how people can think differently. They use fashion to examine the past and build a better, more sustainable future, to ultimately improve the way we all live. The history of London College of Fashion begins with the development of 3 separate schools for women, which were created in order to develop skilled laborers in things like dressmaking, millinery, embroidery, women's tailoring, and hairdressing. These schools included the Shoreditch Technical Institute Girls' School, founded in 1906, the Barrett Street Trade School, founded in 1915, and the Clapham Trade School, founded in 1927. In the 1944 Education Act, Barrett Street Trade School, newly named Barrett Street Technical College, and the merged Shoreditch and Clapham schools, newly named Shoreditch College for the Garment Trades, the status of technical colleges, where they also began accepting male students. In 1967, the 2 colleges were merged to form the London College of the Garment Trades. This was renamed London College of Fashion in 1974. Same as Central St. Martin's, in 1986, the London Institute formed to house 7 colleges, and under the Education Reform Act of 1988 became a legal entity and was able to award degrees by 1993. In August of 2000, Cordwainers College, which was originally founded in 1887, a specialist school for leatherworking, shoemaking, and saddlery, was merged with the London College of Fashion. In 2018, Microsoft co-created a customized curriculum with the London College of Fashion. The students participating in this course use cutting-edge technology like mixed reality, the Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence for fashion innovation related to industry and consumer needs. In 2023, the college is due to make Stratford its new home as part of East London's regeneration into a creative and cultural hub. The alumni at the school include people like Harold Tillman, retail entrepreneur and investor, Jimmy Chu, fashion designer and shoe designer, Alec Weck, supermodel and activist, Peggy Goo, DJ and designer, and William Tempest, fashion designer. We're jumping all the way back over to the US, the number 3 on our list, which is Parsons School of Design, also just known as Parsons, one of the 5 schools under its parent university, the New School. Parsons School of Design is located in the Greenwich Village neighborhood of Lower Manhattan in New York City. It has a fluctuating acceptance rate of anywhere from 13 to 47%, depending on the program, and has a tuition of around $60,000-ish per year, with taxes and fees before aid. The mission statement at Parsons is to have students who are designers, artists, and scholars who learn to apply the transformative capacity of design responsibly, creatively, and purposefully. Parsons School of Design shares the values of its parent university, the New School, which aligns with the shifts in global perspective in regards to economy, society, and environment, and bring the core mission statement and values to life, which all begin with creativity, innovation, and desire to challenge the status quo, as well as social engagement and how we can create a better future together. Parsons School of Design has many schools within it, and the fashion program is just one of those educational paths. Some requirements that you may face if you are trying to get into one of these programs are that people who are applying to the Associates of Applied Science program, they prefer if you have a degree in something other than fashion. And people applying to the master's programs require a degree that directly relates or has the same degree title as the master program that they may be applying to. If not, you need equal industry experience in that field in order to apply to the master's program. The history of Parsons starts with the renowned American Impressionist William Merritt Chase in 1896. Chase led a small group of progressives who seceded from the Art Students League of New York in search of some more individualistic expression. In 1904, arts educator Frank Oliver Parsons joined the school, and 3 education paths were created. Fashion design in 1904, which was originally named costume design. Interior design in 1906, originally named interior decoration. and graphic design in 1910, originally named advertising and commercial illustration. He said this beautiful quote, "Art is not for the few, the talented, the genius, the rich, or the church. Industry is the nation's life. Art is the quality of beauty in expression, and industrial art is the cornerstone of our national art." In 1921, Parsons initiated a satellite school in Paris, becoming the first art and design school in the United States to found a campus abroad. In 1970, Parsons joined the New School, then called the New School for Social Research, a renowned institution of progressive thinking. Today, Parsons and the New School are committed to employing design thinking as a way to help solve complex global problems. In the last decade, Parsons has turned increasingly toward collaborative research and practice, forging new partnerships within disciplines throughout the university and with key industry and government players. This era has seen an increased focus on sustainability and equity as connected to design, leading to new and inclusive design projects. The alumni at Parsons School of Design include people like Marc Jacobs, fashion designer, Anna Sui, fashion designer, Sarah Little Turnbull, product designer, design innovator, and educator, Alexander Wang, fashion designer, Tom Ford, fashion designer, and Ai Weiwei, artist and activist. Now we're jumping to our last school on the list, number 4, and that is the Public School Fashion Institute of Technology, or FIT. FIT is one of the many colleges, universities, and schools under the SUNY, or the State University of New York. SUNY is the largest system of public colleges, universities, and community colleges in the United States. FIT is located in the Lower Manhattan neighborhood of Chelsea in New York City and has a fluctuating acceptance rate of about 53%. The estimated tuition for somebody going to FIT is around $7,600 per semester for New York residents and $22,318 for out-of-state students. The mission statement at FIT is to prepare students for professional excellence in design and business through rigorous and adaptable academic programs, experimental learning, and innovative partnerships. With hyper-career focus and a global perspective, FIT educates its students to embrace inclusiveness, sustainability, and a sense of community. Here is a long list of different degrees that FIT offers. High school students must apply to the AAS program, and after completion can then apply to one of their Bachelor's of Fine Arts programs. Transfers need equivalent to an Associate's of Applied Science experience and 60 credits towards a Bachelor's of Arts program from another school in order to apply to the BFA at FIT. The history behind the Fashion Institute of Technology starts with Mortimer C. Ritter, an educator with an interest in programs for young working people, and Max Mayer, who was a menswear manufacturer, set about organizing a school to ensure the vitality of their businesses. Mortimer C. Ritter said, "What we need is an MIT for the fashion industries." The institute opened in 1944 with 100 students and was located on the top 2 floors of the High School of Needle Trades. Industrialists and educators decided on 2 majors at the time: design, with programs in apparel, millinery, and textiles, and scientific management. The curriculum also included liberal arts. In 1951, 3 years after the State University of New York has been established and state law had provided for creation of community colleges, FIT became the second SUNY community college empowered to grant the Associate in Applied Science degree. Fashion Institute of Technology received accreditation in 1957, and as the curriculum and student body grew, the college moved into its first real home, a 9-story building on 7th Avenue in the heart of the Garment District, which happened in 1959. In 1975, an amendment to the Education Law of New York State permitted FIT to offer Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Fine Arts programs. Another in 1979 authorized master's degrees. Today, the campus encompasses an entire city block and serves more than 10,000 students. Some notable alumni: Norma Kamala, fashion designer; Michael Kors, fashion designer; Ralph Rucci, fashion designer; Calvin Klein, fashion designer; Nina Garcia, fashion journalist, editor-in-chief of Elle, and fashion critic; and Roxanne Lewitt, fashion photographer. Thank you for sticking with me through that little educational breakdown of each school that we just talked about. The information I just gave you is a good jumping off point to form your own research of what these schools are, what they represent, who they are, and what kind of people go to and come from these schools. The best advice I can give you when applying to one of these top 4 schools is to make sure that you cater the information in your application to the specific school you're applying to. Make sure the values that you are talking about in your application all align with what the school already values. That makes it more likely that they're going to choose you as you show them what kind of designer you are. Hey creatives, this video is starting to get too long, so I decided to cut it into 2 parts. So part 1 we just saw was getting to know the fashion school that you're applying to. Part 2 is going to be all about the resume, the portfolio, and the actual application process itself, and how to make sure you stand out when you apply to each of those schools we just talked about. And I'm gonna put that video here when it's uploaded. But until next week, sweet dreams, creatives.